Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, my name is Dr. Himanshu Tyagi and I am teaching this course on heat and mass transfer. We will continue our analysis on mass transfer today. Before we do that, let us recap what we have done in our previous lecture, and this was an animation we have looked at quite a lot of times. So, let us see, last time we looked at mass diffusion more formally and we looked at the full analysis of the Fick's law of diffusion. So, we started off so, I had mentioned in the beginning of previous lecture that analysis for mass diffusion we can do in two ways. One is on the mass basis and the other one is on the mole basis. So, similarly Fick's law we tried to look at it first from the mass basis over here. So, we defined parameters like density, mass fraction. So, these are pretty straightforward things. So, we could get this equation over here where I am putting the red star on the top left hand side. So, this is the Fick's law of diffusion. We looked at each of these terms in lot of detail. Very important parameter, this is the proportionality constant, is DAB. It stands for the diffusion coefficient of species A in a stationary binary mixture. So, that mixture consists of both A and B. So, essentially in this room if I look at the example, it is filled with air. So, that will be my stationary medium B. It may also contain some particular moving part which may diffuse through it. That could be water vapor. If let us say the vapor is higher on the left side, it may travel on the right hand side. It may be smoke. If one particular place somebody has lit a candle, then that smoke will travel. It can even take place in liquid, and today we will look at that. If I put some cubes of sugar inside a stationary water container, it can even be between the liquid and vapor interface as well. So, if you go to some river or to some lake where the water is stagnant, then if you put our hand very close to the water surface, that time if the air is not moving over there under ideal equilibrium condition, the air should be saturated with vapor. And if we are very far away from that particular lake, let us say 4 or 5 or 10 meters, there we may even feel very low humidity, it may be dry condition. So, we can see that the species of water vapor itself will have a gradient, and similar thing will happen inside the lake as well. So, oxygen is full inside the air, but when the fishes and other aquatic animals they have to breathe, they rely on very small amount of oxygen which is diffused through water through that particular interface. So, we look at that interface, and that is where this diffusion coefficient plays a very large role. So, these are the same two equations written in different forms. So, that is why I had written same over here. After we completed this analysis on the mass basis, we continued the same thing on a molar basis as well. So, there instead of density we have mole concentration, instead of mass fraction we have mole fraction over here, and we could write the Fick's law of diffusion in the mole basis as well. So, there again we get the same two equations over here, and proportionality constant remains same DAB. Then we correlated mass and moles together. So, it is just a multiplication of the molecular weight of that particular species. So, this part is straightforward, I will skip through this over here. Then we spent some time analyzing that for different type of materials like for solids, liquids and gases, what is the order of magnitude of the binary diffusion coefficient. So, what we found is that in gases that value is very high. In case of solids given in table over here, that value is extremely low. So, diffusion is a mechanism which takes place very fast in gases, because gases allow other particular species to move through it very fast. Liquid is little bit medium, and even solids also, those solids which have very intertight spaces, packed molecules and atoms, their diffusion is slow. If the intermolecular space is large, if there are cracks inside over there, if there are deformities and some other impurities are there, then the diffusion becomes fast. Then even inside a pure medium, we looked at the diffusion rate what it is proportional to. So, this equation over here gives that if we increase temperature, then diffusion will increase, because then the motion of molecules and atoms is increasing. If we increase pressure, so we are putting more and more atoms and molecules together, so their density will also increase. So, they are preventing the diffusion to take place. So, it is inversely proportional to pressure as well. So, let us continue this analysis today, and what we are going to start off with is, let us look at the interface. What do we mean by interface? What are the different type of interfaces? It could be solid liquid, it could be solid gas, and it can be liquid gas. We will look at them one by one. So, let us look at the first example, which is a solid liquid interface, and first let us look at it, then we will figure out that what is the physics behind it. And the example I will take is from our common life, day to day life. We always go ahead and mix some salt to water, we can even mix sugar to water. So, these are all examples that we can consider. So, let me draw it over here, because here I have more space. So, if I can take a container of water, let us say I take a bucket of water, fill it completely with water, and then I dump inside over here huge amount of salt. So, I add so much salt over here without mixing it. So, there is a lot of salt present over here. So, this whole region is salt. Then I will ask a question to the students, and let me also define the x axis. Instead of x in this particular case, I am going to call it the z axis, and I will start it from the interface. So, this is where the z axis starts. It starts where the solid and liquid interface is. So, I hope the students are able to see the interface is where the topmost salt atom or molecule is able to be in contact with the bottommost water molecule. So, what is going to take place over there? I am kept it in the room condition, there is no motion of water, bulk motion of water, I am not moving that bucket or glass around. So, what am I going to expect will happen after some time? So, let me draw that thing over here. After some time, what I am going to find is that, maybe I will draw it in red color, some of the salt will start to get dissolved, and it will get mixed with water. So, these salt molecules I am showing in red color. I may find little bit here also, but on the top it will be very less. So, mainly it will start from the bottom like this, and over time it may increase. So, the first question comes over here is, let us because salt has dissolved in water, let me define something called as the solubility. So, experiments have shown that for the case of salt at 300 Kelvin, the solubility value for water turns out to be 36.2 kgs. So, what it means is this much kg of salt gets dissolved in 100 kg of water. Okay. Which means, now I am forgotten this particular example for the time being, I am focusing on this new example over here. In this, it contains water, but it is saturated with salt, which means I have taken as much salt as was possible to be dissolved in it. So, there is no salt remaining in solid form over here, all the salt has been dissolved. Okay. So, now I can call it a mixture. So, this will be my species A is the salt molecule, which is given in red color, and whatever is the blue thing which is surrounding, or the white thing, all of that is water. It should be B, B is water, and A is salt. So, now if I ask the students, because this is something I have done in last class, so let me check how much do they remember. What is the value of WA? So, what I am asking is, please recall what was the symbol W for? It was for mass fraction, and subscript A means I am talking about the first species over here, which is salt. So, WA I am talking about mass fraction of salt. So, this will be defined as mass of salt in this particular mixture divided by total mass of mixture, okay, which means I can write it in this form, mass of salt divided by total mass. So, what will its value be? Given that I have dissolved maximum permissible amount of salt. So, let me say the amount of water that I had taken was 100 kg, okay, which means according to this particular data which is available from experiments, I have dissolved inside that 100 kg of water 36.2 kg of salt, is not it? Which means my numerator is 36.2. What is my denominator? It will be 100 plus 36.2. So, it is a fraction. Now, I will get, this is what I am calculating for WA, whatever I will get is a fraction, which means mass fraction of salt will turn out to be somewhere around this number, or I can write it in percentage terms. I can say roughly speaking it is 27% mass fraction. Is this point clear till now? Now, what I am going to do is a interesting thing. I am going to plot something over here. So, let me create the axis over here, and this is my same z axis over here. If this is the height from the datum is h, so then this is z equals to 0, here z equals to 0, here z equals to h. So, here I am at this particular point, z equals to h, here z is 0. So, what I am plotting over here is this quantity W A, which means I am plotting the mass fraction of salt for this example. This I am calling as example number 2. This is a separate example which we just did, which was the limit of solubility. Please remember, in example number 2, we have not reached the limit of solubility, which means we are talking about W salt. And just to make it little interesting, I may also define one more thickness over here. Let me call it length L, okay, which is this much salt which is in solid form over here, which means over here this is my length L. So, what I am plotting on this one, this is actually a slightly tilted plot. So, usually we plot certain parameter on the y axis, you remember temperature as a function of distance. Here we have reversed it, here we are plotting concentration or mass fraction of salt on the horizontal axis, and distance we have kept vertical. Why? Because I want to match this thing exactly with the schematic that I have drawn over here. So, this is my schematic, and this H and L we can clearly see over here, height of liquid, height of the salt. Let me start to draw this particular plot. So, let me put some dots over here. Let me call this point A, over here is point B, then just above here is point C, in somewhere in middle point D, somewhere over here point E. Let me first just plot these 5 points, and now first I will focus on point A. So, if I ask student what is the location of point A, so clearly it is here, it is somewhere on this line. Why? Because I know its location is z equals to minus L. Hold on. So, this is minus L, right? This is the minus direction of z, this was 0. But what is the value of W salt at point A? W stands for mass fraction. So, mass fraction of salt at the bottom of the container where everything is salt. If I am standing at the bottom of the container, I look left, right, everywhere there is salt, there is no water there, it is solid salt, which means the mass fraction there of salt is 1, is not it? So, let me put a y axis over here. So, let me call this point is 1, which means I am on this line also, which means I am at the intersection of these two lines. This is the point I am at. Is this point clear that this is point A? I know that distance at point A, I am at minus L location. I know the mass fraction at point A, mass fraction equals to 1. So, I can write it even over here, maybe I will write it here, that W A in my example number 2 is equals to 1, is not it? Now, what about, so this first point is clear. Now, let me change color. Now, I am talking about point B, which is this red dot over here. And the way I have drawn this red dot, I will show over here is that I am taking the interface like this line. So, this is something I am drawing as a zoomed in version over here. So, I am zooming in and trying to draw. So, this is the actual interface between salt and water, but what I am going to do is draw very two close lines over here, which means this interface actually I am making little bit thick. And you remember in mathematics we sometimes take limits and we sometimes put numbers like if I draw this x axis and y axis over here, this particular point here is 0, but I am just on the right hand side of this particular point, then I used to write it 0 plus. If I am on this particular point just on the right side, if just on the left side, just left, I can write it as 0 minus. Do not consider it O, it is not O, it is 0 plus 0 minus, which means this is just over here at this point we are at z equals to 0 minus, at this point we are at z equals to 0 plus. So, we are just above the interface or just below the interface. So, these two blue lines represent over here that one, and that is what I am representing by these dots B and C. So, if I ask the students what do they think is the mole fraction at point B. So, again we will go and imagine ourselves sitting at that point. We are sitting at that point where just salt has ended and water will start just at that particular point. So, there also we will predominantly have salt, maybe little bit of water may have come over there at just at the interface, because water can also diffuse inside the salt. That is another interesting thing, which means there the mass fraction should be close to 1 over here, but maybe just little bit over here it is on the left side over here, which means this is my point B over here. Does it make sense? Okay. Now, we will go to point C, which is just above that interface, which means that point C is this one. This is point C, this one over here is point B. Now, comes the interesting part, that at point C, which is inside the water, we have just entered the water layer. So, there must be lot of water molecules around, because we are inside the new territory, we have crossed the boundary, we have gone just like we cross border, we go to a new country, then the currency changes. So, in one country maybe they are using dollar, in another country they are using pound. So, immediately that change is there, but maybe there is some diffusion also. Some people just who have crossed over, few of them they are still using dollar. So, over here we have just crossed over to water, but still some salt molecule will be there. Why? Because salt has dissolved over there, and as a matter of fact at that first layer of water it will be saturated with salt. It will contain as much salt as it can, because it is right in the border, and that one we have already defined in example number 1. So, we know that particular value that it will contain this amount of salt, and that mass fraction already we have calculated, which means now I can put in some numbers. So, if this is 1, 0.5, 0.25, 0.75, these 4 marks I have put over here. So, we are close to 25%. So, over here little bit more 27, and Z is 0 plus. So, we are at this particular point. So, this red dot maybe I will change color, then computer will not bother me. So, this will become green dot. I am just changing new color, because here salt has fully saturated water. Please remember this particular point. Good. So, I will make it as point C. Now, we go little bit upward. We are now at point D over here in the middle of water. Can you see this one? Here it is full water, but some salt will definitely be there. not as much as in C, because we have gone little bit upward, letter C, it will become letter B. So, it will be less than that, which means W value will reduce when we go into the middle. So, we are here at h by 2, we are in the middle, I have to be on this particular line, and then maybe over here the D value could be somewhere over here. So, this is D value, and similarly finally at E we are at h height, and then that value will become even less over here. So, maybe this is point number A, which means now I can pick a new color. Maybe I will take this, which color should I take? Light blue. I can join all these points. Now, how it may look like? It may look something like this, from here to here, then immediately from C to B, it is a huge jump, then B to A, again it will go over here, okay, and then it will remain 1 throughout, which means we have kind of, I can extend this particular curve if there was more water over here, then this, then this. So, this is very important curve to remember. So, I am writing over here, this is very important, because at equilibrium, thermodynamic equilibrium in diffusion, when it is taking place, perhaps something like this is happening in nature. And the most interesting thing in this blue curve, if you see on the slide, most interesting thing is happening between point B and point C. It is just like if I am on the border, I am standing on the border, if I just take 1 meter here, then I am using dollar, if I take 1 meter over here, I am using pound. So, in the gradient of change is huge, and similarly over here, and that particular border or the interface, in physical quantities we are using the word interface instead of border. So, at that interface suddenly there is a huge change in this variable, which is W salt, which is mass fraction of salt. So, if we are just below the interface, it is full of salt, we are just little bit inside the water, then also lot of salt is there, but it is full of water, salt is there up to the saturation limit. So, it is 27%, isn't it? Okay. So, I think this is a very good example about salt and water. This is what will happen, and slowly diffusion will take place, which means over time how will it change? And now I am going to draw with time. Point C cannot exceed itself, so it may go like this, then after long period of time everything should become fully saturated, very close to it if not fully saturated, then this point may go like this in the orange direction. So, I can show that with time this thing may increase like this. So, this is actually very good example, isn't it? I hope students are able to understand this solid liquid interface concept very good, because this will help us figure out lot of examples and lot of other things that we want to do in the next subsequent slides. Now, let us take one more case where we are talking about the gas liquid interface. So, it is that particular example we were talking about. Let us say we have a container of water over here, fully filled with water. So, I will make it in blue color, because generally water we are showing blue. And now I am making the z axis starting from this particular point. So, at the water air interface, and air is on top of it, I will make it in green color. So, this is air, this whole thing is water. And the interesting thing will happen is below the interface some amount of air may be present. So, showing in this green circle. And why? Because air can diffuse inside water, then and it will become dissolved. Then water, it will become vapor and it may diffuse and go over here. So, these things I am showing in water, they are not water droplet, they are actually water vapor. So, all these blue dots, they are not droplets, they are water vapor. So, here again we will have very interesting concept if we want to plot, and here we can make actually two plots. So, I will try to make both of them over here, because this will turn out to very interesting case as well. So, here again over here is my z axis, because I have aligned it with the z axis on the above figure. And what I want to do now is I want to make the mole fraction of water and also the mole fraction for air. Okay. So, let me start with water. So, what I am going to do is again draw that particular small interface over here. So, this is that very thin interface which exists at z equals to 0, which is this particular point, and the same thing will happen over here. So, now I have switched from W to Y, and what is the reason for that? Because Y stands for mole fraction. So, here I am more interested in mole fraction. So, mole fraction for water in this particular graph over here, will it be equals to 1, Y H2O equals to 1 at some point? So, I think inside water it will be very close to 1. So, let me make the mark for 1. Let us say this is the mark for 1. So, at let us say some depth over here it will be very close to 1. So, this is the curve that we will get. What will happen to the water mole fraction just above the interface? So, let me also make some points over here. This is A, this is just below the interface is B, just above the interface is C, and then we have D and E. So, over here I have drawn point A. What will happen to point C? Just above the interface. So, there the air will be saturated with water. So, we will do one salt example today. So, that saturation value will come out over here, and above it then that mole fraction will keep on reducing, it will become 0 after a very long time, and here it will be very less than 1. So, this one will over here, then it goes like this. So, huge gradient. Can you see this particular point? Maybe I will make it in red color. Why am I making in red? Because this is the most interesting part. Across this interface there is a huge change in gradient, and the same thing we can draw for air. In the case of air, if I put this as the mole fraction number 1, this is y equals to 1, the green marker. So, if we are very high at this point D over here, I forgot to mention these points over here, this is A, this is B, C, and then very height, this is D. So, at D the air mole fraction will be 1. So, the line will come like this, and inside deep over here at point A it will be very close to 0, very small number over here. Okay. Then point C will be close to this particular point, very close to 1, but little bit less over here, and similarly over here, which means this curve will be increasing like this, this curve is decreasing like this, and this huge jump I will show with red color over here. And what is this huge jump? It is across that interface, very thin interface I am making over here, very, very thin. So, again it is that border effect that as soon as we go from vapor to liquid, from liquid to vapor, suddenly those properties actually change, and that is true in real life as well. So, if we have an object over here, the density inside throughout the object could be some high value, let us say it is about 1 gram per cc or 2 gram per cc, be a kind of metallic. As soon as I come outside this object, stand in the air over here, then it goes very, very low. It becomes 1,000th, 1 upon 1000 of that particular density. So, even in real life we can see across this interface density is having a step function, which means I can show over here if it is a solid, density is high. So, this is density as a function of x, then as soon as we go into the gas, then the density is low. So, this is the solid, this is a gas, and this is that interface. So, lot of reaction, lot of chemistry, lot of things actually happen at the interface, because suddenly properties they actually change. So, this is a very interesting concept that we have seen over here. Okay. And with that, let me also formally write one quantity over here. So, this let me focus over here. I am considering the water curve on the left side. So, here we already see this line represents y equals to 1. This point B, here what is the value of y? We have not figured it out, but the way we will write it nomenclature will be that this is YH2O, because that is the name of the species, and we will say it is on the liquid side. And at this particular point C over here, what is the value of y? That we have not calculated, but its nomenclature will be again y of species, y of H2O, and this is air side or the gas side. And these nomenclatures will be very, very important to us, because now we can write based on this particular analysis something very interesting observed in the past and named as the Henry's law. So, we can write over here that what is Henry's law. So, that is given by this equation which I am about to write over here. So, we can write for any species, if it is air or water vapor or any other, that species how much it is present in the liquid side, which means what we are talking about is this particular point over here. Here y is in for the air and we are talking about the liquid side. So, this is something that we are. So, let us say we want to find out how much air is dissolved in this particular liquid, that is given by the Henry's law, and that is given as this expression P air on the gas side divided by H. And the whole thing we have to calculate at the interface, This H over here is known as Henry's constant. So, this law will now tell, if we look at this particular gas liquid interface example over here, this will now able to tell us that how much air can be dissolved in water directly from this equation over here. And very interesting thing it is telling us directly is, if I increase the pressure of this particular air over here on the gas side means this particular point. So, this is the pressure of the air on the gas side at this particular point. So, usually this pressure is 1 atmosphere if we are at sea level. Can we increase this pressure? So, answer is yes. We can go to the market, we can buy some cold drink or some soda in which some dissolved gas is there in the water, that is known as the carbonated drink, carbonated water. So, you can go in summer feeling very hot, we can go and purchase some cold drink. As soon as we open the tap of that particular bottle, then some gas comes out, because it is packaged under high pressure, and we can see that bubbling is taking place inside that drink. It could be transparent color or different color drinks is there. So, why is that added? How is that added? The physics behind that is given by Henry's law. So, why is there high pressure inside that particular bottle? In order to carbonate that. So, the gas that we will use for that purpose is actually CO2, carbon dioxide. The reason for that we will see in the next slide, that why do they put pressurized CO2, why not just simple air or oxygen, nitrogen or any other gas. So, that answer will come from the value of Henry's constant. So, Henry constant give an idea that why CO2 is used in carbonated drinks. In other words, to put it correctly, why is CO2 used to carbonate drinks, why not oxygen, nitrogen and other. In order to move into that particular direction, let us first look at some typical values of Henry's constant. So, what I am going to do is create some space over here on the top side, because I want to write it on the same page where the equation is given and the constants values are given. So, if I ask you, if you look at Henry's constant over here, what will its units be? Because y on the left hand side is mole fraction, it is unitless. So, these two units have to cancelled out. So, which means H will also be given in the same unit as pressure, which is generally in bars. So, H value is generally given in bar. So, these are the values which are available from literature, and these are the different gas water pairs. When each of these following gases is dissolved in water, so let me put oxygen over here, then the H value for oxygen is about 45,000 bars. This is huge value. And now we put the value of CO2, which turns out to be simply around 2000 bar or 1710 bar. So, it is because of this difference, and nitrogen I will also put, because nitrogen is also air and nitrogen, these are also commonly available. So, which means I can carbonate the drink with any of these gas, with air also, nitrogen also, but in order to create the same volume fraction. Why are we creating volume fraction of air? Why are we dissolving carbon dioxide in that particular cold drink? In order to give the very nice quenching taste to people. So, people like that particular taste. If you drink the same cold drink by removing that carbonation, then the taste becomes little bit less. So, it is a subjective feeling, it is not true for everyone, but for many of the people it gives that fizzy feeling in the mouth if you drink carbonated drink. So, scientifically it can even be created with air and nitrogen, but this equation tells us in order to, because the Henry's constant for air is, you can see from here, more than 30 times that of carbon dioxide, even more than 30 times, which means the pressure that we have to keep inside that particular cold drink, if we have to get the same taste of those bubbles with air, the pressure of that container has to be 30 times higher, which means the next time we try to purchase carbonated drink which has been carbonated with air or nitrogen, taste if we feel the same, that container will may be very, very thick, because it has to sustain 30 times that pressure, otherwise a normal thin container may burst. So, that is the physics behind it. Even hydrogen has very high value of Henry constant. So, there is only one gas which is having even low value than Henry constant, but this no manufacturer want to put in their drink. So, I think students who have done chemistry at school level, they know that H2S is having very pungent smell. So, instead of purchasing the cold drink, people will just throw it away, nobody want to purchase. So, even though scientifically it can sustain that same fuzzy feeling at low values of H, so low pressure, but nobody will drink it. Human beings do not like H2S smell, it smells very, very foul. So, let us do some one or two examples, and let us take this particular example from here and try and think from the point of view of fishes, because fish are very much concerned with this value. Maybe I will make it in red, because this is a very critical value. This is the value which tells us that how much oxygen, generally how much air is dissolved in the water which is present in lakes, in rivers, because if air is dissolved, which means oxygen is dissolved in water, and those fishes, aquatic organisms, they actually depend on that oxygen, because they cannot split oxygen away from that water molecule. It is only that dissolved oxygen which is inside there, they sustain their life on. So, let us try and calculate that how much oxygen are they sustaining their life on, which means I am taking now a numerical example in which I am considering this is this lake, this is my z axis, this is the height over here. Lake always has some air on top of it, and I am going to assume that pressure is 1 atmosphere over here. Ambient condition I am assuming, so temperature is 300 Kelvin. So, what I want to find in this particular problem is that inside water at this particular interface point, let me call it point Q over here, that what is the value of air, mole fraction of air at point Q, which is essentially over here at the interface and liquid side. I want to find its value. So, I put a question mark over here. How we will solve it? The hint is that we have to use Henry's law. So, answer is very straightforward. In one step we can calculate it. So, what we find out is the value of air on that liquid side is simply equal to the pressure of air on the gas side divided by Henry constant H. And this value for the air water pair, Henry value we know is 74,000, because we got it from this particular table over here. So, here we are having 74,000 units is bars. And what is the pressure of air on the gas side? Which means what we are talking about is this dot over here. I will make it in red color dot. So, pressure of air on gas side, is it equal to 1 atmosphere, which is 1.013 bar, or is it less? So, here we will make use of that concept of partial pressure, which means at this point over here near the red dot, there will be some water molecules also present. Now, the question comes, why is the water molecule present over there? Wherever we find a layer of water which is exposed to air, at that point interface over there under thermodynamic equilibrium, that evaporation, because of evaporation, then that air will become saturated with water, which means I have to calculate the saturation pressure of water at that particular point. So, is it complicated? I think if we make use of our thermodynamics background, it may become very easy. So, I will draw the TS diagram over there. Before I do that, let me complete this analysis for partial pressure. So, we are saying that the total pressure will be equal to 1 atmosphere, and that will be equal to the pressure of air at that point plus the pressure of water vapor. Now, this value is not known to us, this value is known to us, this is simply 1 atmosphere. So, now what we want to find out is, question is, what is the value of water vapor partial pressure? So, this answer very quickly we can find from the TS diagram, because the temperature value is known to us. This temperature is 27 degree centigrade. So, all we do is look at the 27 temperature line over here, 27 degree. Then from our thermodynamics background, we know that this is the constant pressure line over here, and this is the saturation pressure corresponding to 27 degree centigrade, and the quality of water vapor is this quality over here. So, this is the state. So, if I put this state as maybe state R, and this I dot over there, I am putting as the R. This is the state of water vapor over there. So, that is this particular. So, from steam tables we can figure out the value of P sat, and I looked up the steam table, and it turns out to be very low pressure, 3.4 kilopascal, converted into bar, 0.0034 bar. I think there will be one less 0, it will be 0.0, which means I have figured out the value over here, it is simply 0.034 bar. Now, if I know the total atmospheric pressure, I can calculate the pressure of air, and it will be simply this minus this. So, this is 1 atmosphere, I will convert into bar, 0.013 bar. Then I subtract the water vapor pressure out of it, 0.034 bar. I do this using a calculator, and I figure out the pressure of air at that point is simply 0.979 bar. It is actually very close to 1 atmosphere, but just to show this particular point, I wanted to illustrate this process to the students, which means now I can get the value of Y air in the liquid side, and that turns out to be P air on the gas side, which is 0.979 bar, divided by Henry constant, which is huge, which means this mole fraction will turn out to be very small number. I take a calculator and I get this value as 1.33 into 10 to the power minus 5. So, this is the volume fraction of air which is dissolved in liquid water. So, under thermodynamic equilibrium, even if I get distilled water or some other demineralized water, any kind of water I get from anywhere, lake or any place, if I keep it in a glass, fill it and then leave it for long period of time, so that it reaches thermodynamic equilibrium, pressure, temperature, relative humidity and dissolution of oxygen. So, oxygen will go and diffuse inside that water and it will reach this particular point. So, it may reach 1.33 into 10 to the power minus 5, which is huge, not huge, which is very small. It is like 13 ppm, parts per million. So, just believe, imagine all the fish, animal, organisms and everything living in the ocean and the sea, they are just relying on that small amount of oxygen which is present around them, very, very small amount. So, this purpose of this example was just to figure out and to familiarize the student how to figure out the value of, in the salt water case, how much was the mass fraction of salt in water at each particular point. In this particular air water case, we will go to video mode. In the air water case, what we are looking at familiarization, that how much oxygen is actually dissolved in the water. Now, let us look at another example over here, which is the solid gas interface, which is also very important for engineers. Where do we see the solid gas interface? So, I was giving that example of carbonation of cold drink. Inside that example itself, we have to put some sort of a tap. So, all the walls which are containing that cold drink, which is at high pressure, that is the solid through which the gas can diffuse. So, if I draw a cap over here, this is that bottle in which there is, let us say, water or some mixture with some salt, sweet syrup is there in order to make it sweet, and then lot of CO2 has been dissolved in order to give it certain taste. So, not only it is the problem between the liquid and the vapor interface, this CO2 will be present here also, and it will try to pass through this particular solid cap. So, this is a whole solid cap through which CO2 will try to pass. Through the wall also CO2 will try to pass over here, and it actually does pass, which means that we have to try and figure out that how, of course, the rate will turn out to be very, very low. It could be as low as 1 or 2 milligram or microgram per day or per month. It will be very low depending on the thickness, how much diffusion coefficient is there. But this is a real challenge, and let us try and figure out how do we approach this particular problem. So, the first, there will be 2 steps to this problem. In the first step, again we have to define certain parameter which is called the solubility. And what does this actually mean? So, let me draw an interface. So, this is a solid and gas interface, and we can take example from here. Instead of this plastic cover, let me assume that this particular thing is made of rubber. So, the cap on top of this glass is made of rubber. The gas on this particular side, I can imagine, is CO2. So, what happens is, even though rubber itself is a solid, or even if it is made of plastic or some metal, the gas will start to diffuse to this particular point, and some solubility will also take place over here. It will be soluble at the interface. So, this is the near the interface at this particular material. Certain solubility will take place from the gas to the solid side. So, gas is full on this particular side, it is completely filled this space. It could be air, it could be CO2, which means this quantity can be defined as the at this particular point over here, the blue dot. This is the concentration of that gas. So, over here we are taking CO2, and which side are we on? We are on the solid side. So, I will write solid side. So, scientists have tried to figure out what is it proportional to. So, there will be a proportionality constant over here, and what are the parameters that it will be proportional to? It will be proportional to the pressure of CO2 at this particular point, or rather close to the interface. So, I will make this dot over here. at this particular point, this is the pressure of CO2 on the gas side, and that is what we will write over here, that pressure of CO2 on the gas side. So, the concentration of CO2, isn't it very interesting? So, concentration of CO2 on solid side. So, we are talking about solid side, this red dot. It is proportional to the pressure of CO2 on the gas side. This is same as what we have seen earlier in Henry law as well. So, anyway, can we go and check into that? I think so. So, over here also we are getting the same thing. In Henry law is also similar. Here we are getting about mole fraction of that particular gas in the liquid side is proportional to the pressure of that particular gas on the gas side itself. Very interesting. And the same thing we are getting over here. So, we will put a proportionality constant S, and this is known as solubility. And let me put the units over here, so that we can get some real picture what is going on. Concentration unit, can I ask students what it was? So, if you remember, it is always given kilomole per meter cube. Okay. Pressure is in bar, solubility kilomole per meter cube per bar. So, all the units both sides they get matched. Okay. This equation I can rewrite it in another form, and I will write same over here, because both equation will remain same. And how do I convert it from, why I want to convert it? Because instead of concentration, I would be more interested in writing it in density form. What is the density of CO2 on the solid side? So, is there a relationship between density and concentration? So, if students remember from previous lecture, we can just multiply it by the molecular mass m, then we can get this particular quantity, which means that equation on the top right hand side I can write is exactly same as the bottom one, just multiplied by m into S into P CO2 gas side. So, here everything has same units, except for density it will turn out to be kg per meter cube over here. And I think I have few minutes remaining. Let me go ahead and put a table over here which gives the value of this constant S, solubility, for different gas and solid pairs. So, this one is, so we have the gas solid pairs and the value of S, whose units we already know is kilomole per meter cube per bar. And what are the gas solid pair? The first pair we are looking at oxygen going through rubber. The second one we are looking at CO2 in rubber, and the third one is, this is becoming very critical today because of the advent of hydrogen economy. For storage of hydrogen, usually nickel is used. So, these numbers are very important in today's time. So, this value is this one 0.04015 and over here 0.009. So, why am I writing all these values? Because very soon we will go ahead and do some problem solving, which I can even start today itself. Let me go ahead and do that, because there will be one very interesting case which we have just discussed right now. So, let us say this is the cap of that container which contains the cold drink. So, this is the bottle which contains CO2 under high pressure over here. So, this is my whole bottle. So, there is a lot of CO2 over here. So, this thing is made of rubber. So, CO2 is trying to diffuse over here and come out from this particular point. If it is steady state, then I can directly write that particular m dot diffusion equation I already know. That equation will be dAB into area into d rho A by dx. Here A is essentially CO2. Now DAB value of CO2 in rubber is known to us. So, that value we will obtain from certain tables. What is this gradient over here? By the way, this is not P, this is rho. I have written it in this way, this is rho A. Under steady state, here the concentration will be high, here the concentration value is low, which means here if it is density 1, here it is density 2, which means I can rewrite this particular equation as this, into A into density 1 minus density 2 divided by L, if this is the length of the cap. And I also know the diameter of the cap. So, this is the diameter of the cap over here. All I need in this particular equation are two values, density 1 and density 2. Now, when we buy this container and put it in our house, we are surrounding it by air. So, everywhere else is air, which means this boundary condition I already know. Outside the cap, the air contains very less CO2. So, directly I can write over here the density 2 is 0. That is the density of CO2 in the air just outside the cap is 0. That is density 2 over here. How will I find density 1? I can find density 1 using this equation over here. And I think this is the point at which we will start in the next class. So, I will ask students to try and use that equation given over here in the time that they have available. Please try and figure out that how much this is this value that you will be needing from here, how much CO2 is dissolved in the rubber at the just the interface point over here, at just the first layer point over here, CO2 how much it is dissolved. So, if I can draw CO2 in green color over here, because everything is filled in this particular bottle with CO2 at high pressure. So, over here CO2 will be dissolved, that will give us the density C1 in terms of the concentration C1. So, once we know C1, we can just multiply it by M, because we know density is M into C, where M is the molecular weight of CO2. So, M CO2 I think from memory it is about 44. Okay. So, I think I will take a pause over here. This is something we will continue in the next class, but I encourage students to go ahead and try and solve it themselves. So, today we looked at very interesting cases, three different type of interfaces we have looked at. First is that solid and liquid interface, where we try to look whether salt, if we put inside the liquid container, what is the kind of mass fractions that we will see. The second case that we looked is the liquid vapor interface, where we are trying to see that if the vapor is actually evaporating from the lake surface, then water vapor, how it is volume fraction is changing, mole fraction, and similarly reverse, that air is actually diffusing inside the lake. So, at what particular value of mole fraction is there of oxygen inside that particular lake surface. Then later on we are trying to look at the interface of solid and gases as well. So, we are trying to see that how much gas is actually dissolved in for example, CO2 in rubber or hydrogen in nickel. So, that we know just that particular surface point how much will be the mole fraction or concentration or density. Then we will be able to figure out that if there is a wall behind it of a certain length, how much of that molecules are going to move across it. So, it is very interesting problem. I would encourage students to go ahead and try and solve it. We will meet again in the next lecture. Till that, thank you.